All right. Hey, good morning, everybody. Hope you're all having a good day so far. This is Monday, March 20th, doing our weekly market update. We're going to be talking about this previous week, actually, and news updates. It's been very, very cold. It's been a very, very cold spring so far. It's kind of surprising if we're being honest with ourselves. And, I'm wearing black because I'm mourning the end of the UK's basketball season even though I had them losing in my bracket. I know, not a true Kentucky fan if I don't have them going all the way, I guess. But I had them losing this round. Just didn't feel like they were going to make the run this year. We'll see how we do next year. We're supposed to have a really good class, but that seems like the same story every single year. Have a good class, high hopes, and then we're done. We're one and done, two and done into the tournament. So we'll see what happens next year. But we'll jump right into our weekly market update. I'm trying to stay on these as best I can. It does get very, very busy. For closings in Lexington, there were 60 last week, which is a jump from the previous week, which was kind of in the mid 50s, actually the high 40s. So it was like 48. And then this past week, we had 60. So it is picking up. Word on the street is the best time to sell your home is April 16th through the 23rd or something like that, whatever that week time frame is. It's like the most popular time in the country to sell your house. So expect the numbers to continue to climb as we get closer and closer to that date. So we're a month out. I think it's probably been somewhat slow here these past couple weeks just because March has been super cold. I mean, we've been in the 30s the last 2 weeks easily. So February was, I don't know, it was a tease for us, I think, because we were experiencing the 50s, some's in the 60s. Now it's just, I mean, it's 19 degrees out right now. So I think maybe home sellers are just halting the brakes a little bit. But I mean, we're right around the corner for spring. I think we're going to be in the 60s later this week, and hopefully we'll stay there. Georgetown was a little bit of a jump as well at 21. These are just closings that have happened in the past week. For sales is at 12. Winchester, 10 closings. That was a jump. Paris has been very consistent, low numbers every single week. Same with the Nicholasville. Nicholasville's been low. Richmond, that's been very consistent in the 20s. And then Frankfort, about 9. This was a little bit of a drop, actually. Frankfort has been doing similar numbers to Richmond, but it was a little bit of a drop this week, so that's okay. Homes under contract. So these are homes that have been on the market and someone bought it. Like we went under contract. We're getting ready to close. Lexington had 56. So just think about that. They've had 6 homes close, 60 homes closed, 56 new ones came on the market. I'm sure some of those went under contract. So it's really good. It's that illusion that there's not a lot of inventory, but it's constantly being replenished, which is great. As long as the homes are getting, replenished, we'll be all right. Georgetown had 11 homes go under contract. For sales had 6. Winchester had 6. Paris has 4. He had 3 closings this week, and he had 4 go under contract. So, I mean, it's been very consistent. Nicholasville had 6. Richmond had 11. And then Frankfort had 11. So, a lot of these areas was definitely a jump from the previous week. So that's really, really good. So new active properties. Lexington only had 29 come on the market this week. This is actually usually right on the money with homes that went under contract. Like usually we're in the 50s. So this past week, only 29 came on the market. And like I said, I really believe that has to deal with the weather. I bet you a lot of sellers are pushing it back a week or two just to make sure that like they don't want to deal with all this cold. They don't want to deal with all the weather that we've been having. I bet you they're going to wait just that one extra week, those 2 extra weeks, get the weather nice, and they're going to jump right into it. I bet you at that point. So Georgetown, again, they only had 3 homes come on the market. For sales, only had 1. Winchester had 2. And these were homes that, or I should say, these are areas that have been averaging 10 homes a week. And this past week has just came to a screeching halt with inventory. Nicholasville had 5. And the total active, those are the total amount of single family homes that are active in the areas. So if you weren't kind of paying attention when we went through, so like Lexington has 211. Last week it was 218. So still kind of in that 200 range, which sounds about right. Georgetown has tons of homes on the market, tons of homes currently on the market. So just kind of be aware of that. There's plenty of options out there. Richmond, 132 options, 14 came on the market this past week. In Frankfort, you had 5 new homes come on the market. So let's talk about the days on market. So these are how long the homes are sitting before they actually sell. So this is for all you sellers. These are people who are thinking about listing their home, thinking about putting their home on the market. You're averaging about a month. Now, granted, you had about 50 homes. The average dates takes a month, so that's pretty consistent. It's been slowly getting higher and higher each month. Every single week that I do this, I can tell it's getting longer and longer and longer when it comes to listing your home. That's why, if you're thinking about it, pricing it right is so critical. If you want to try to sell your home for as much money as you can, that's great. But the longer your home sits, the more buyers are going to look and go, what's wrong with it? Why isn't anybody buying it? Like that, those questions just start popping in their heads. And then it starts to become just a little bit harder to sell that home if it just keeps sitting and sitting and sitting. If your home is priced right, that sucker's going to sell in 2 weeks. It almost doesn't matter where you're at, whether you're in Richmond, Berea, Georgetown. If your home's priced right, it's going to sell. All right. It might take a few weeks, but it's going to sell as long as it's priced right. See, like Georgetown's, it's right over a month. For sales, this was a little bit of a shock to me. For sales, with the limited amount of inventory, the limited amount of action that's happening, for them to only be out there for 3 weeks, I mean, almost 2 weeks, 3 weeks, you're doing pretty good if you're in for sales. Winchester, I mean, you're 2 months in. So if you're in my area, Winchester area, we list your home, we'll talk about what's going on, especially in your neighborhood, your inventory, what kind of homes you've got. But I mean, there's homes out there and they're sitting. I mean, I've shown a couple here in the area that are pretty nice and pretty sweet. But there's just not a lot of action going on in Winchester. Paris, 16 days. See, that's another one that kind of shocks me with a limited amount of inventory, limited amount of action going on in Paris, Kentucky. They're still getting them off the shelf, getting them off the market relatively quick. Nicholasville, 50 days. It's about average for what they've been doing recently. Richmond, 44 days. Frankfort's averaging 44 days. So let's talk about sold prices. So these are the average prices of all the homes sold. And Lexington, you're right around 370. Again, that's been, you're in the 300 range easily. And I do like to remind people, if you're shopping, if you're thinking about moving to the Lexington area, I always like to tell you, let's go check out Georgetown. Let's go check out Richmond. Let's go check out Winchester. Let's check out all these different areas. It's cool to be in Lexington, but let me tell you something. A $370,000 house in Lexington is very different from a $370,000 house in Georgetown, Paris, Winchester. I mean, you want to talk about a upgrade. I mean, that's an upgrade for sure. I mean, I like doing that and showing my clients, especially if they're from out of town, the different areas in the same price range, because they see just how much of a difference going, 15 miles south to Richmond is going to dramatically change what their homes look like. So Georgetown, about 315, 316. For sales, 282. See, with the for sales and the Paris numbers, those numbers fluctuate. I mean, I remember one month it was like $700,000, but Paris only sold 2 homes, and they were both big, huge farms, super, super expensive. So those numbers can look kind of skewed. Winchester, $300,000. Paris, about 315. Nicholasville, see, Nicholasville's one of those areas that don't have a ton of inventory, but they could be selling 500, $700,000 houses, and it just makes it look the average kind of look a little skewed. 284 in Richmond, 284. I might have doubled up on Frankfurt and Richmond on accident. Sold to list ratio, 98%. So again, this is what you list your house for versus what you sell it for. So if you listed it for $200,000 and you sold it for 190, sold it for about 98%. Okay. Georgetown was a little bit of a shock, 101%. I mean, people are paying more than what they are asking for, which that probably basically means is that there are probably a slew of homes that came out that recently sold in Georgetown that were real nice. Everyone wanted them, and they probably were going to pay more than what the sellers were asking for, and that's huge. Sales about 96%. Winchester, whopping 88%. So if you're looking for a deal, you need to come to these outside areas, especially Winchester, especially Paris. Paris only 91%. Okay, like that's fantastic. Those areas are usually pretty consistent. For sales is usually in the low 90s as well. Nicholasville is at 98%. Richmond, 97%. Frankfurt, right at 97% as well. All right, we're flying through this today, ladies and gentlemen. I know it's Monday. I know everyone's kind of tired, especially from the long weekend, if you had a long weekend. So, big important questions. Is it time to sell? We are entering the hot market. Spring across the country is always consistently a hot market, especially in this area. I will say the inventory is still somewhat low. So if you're thinking about listing, I would probably try to get that listing out relatively soon. I would try to get that home listed relatively soon. So that way you kind of beat the market. There's plenty of buyers out there. People are shopping. I'm working with buyers from all across the country who are trying to move to the area and people who live in the area trying to upgrade or downgrade. It's just we're waiting. We're waiting for that right home to come up, and your home could be that right home. Your home's probably that right home for somebody. And don't worry about if it's not the nicest home ever. I mean, there's fixer-uppers, ladies and gentlemen, that are selling in 48 hours. I mean, they're priced right, they're going to sell. That's the whole trick with this. As long as your home is priced right, according to what the market's doing, it's going to sell. If you want to make money, we'll talk about how we'll make you money. Okay. Don't worry about the commission thing. We'll cover all that stuff. We'll cover all those questions, all those information when we do our seller's consultation. So it's very important that if you're trying to sell your home, I would get your home out relatively soon in the next few weeks before everybody else does, because if the inventory does boom, now you've got buyers with options. They may not want to offer you as much for your house as for another house. So just those kind of things will come up. So if you're thinking about doing it, now is not the worst time to consider doing it. It's a time to buy. It's always a good time to buy. If you're renting, I need to get you out of renting. That's the whole important thing. We got to get you out of renting. We've got to get you starting to build some equity. That goes towards your future down the road. It just makes a huge difference for your life. I promise you. If you're worried about the pros and cons of owning or renting, I do have a video out there. Go check it out. It's on my channel. I recently published it, and we talk about the pros and cons of renting and owning a home. Honestly, ladies and gentlemen, owning a home is it's a financial life changer for you. It is. And so definitely want to talk to you about that. If you are financially don't have enough money for a down payment, that's fine. We can still talk and we can set financial goals for you. So that way we can get you to the point that you will be able to own that home. Now, here's the thing. Are home prices going up? Yes, they go up every single month. They've gone up every single month consistently for 10 years straight. Okay. They may take a dip in what you can get it for. Like a home might be $295,000 5 years ago. Now it's $315,000, but you could still buy it for $305,000 if it's a buyer's market. Okay. That's how this prices work. But the longer you wait, the longer the harder it's going to be to get you that home that you may want and the quicker that you want. So, that's why we call these starter homes. If this is your first time buying a home, you get in there, you own it for 5 years, build it up some equity, save down some money for that next house, and we get you into that house that you really, really want. Okay. That's how it works. But you can't do that renting. Okay. Renting, remember, ladies and gentlemen, is 100% interest. It's always 100%. And you never get any of that money back when you walk out the door. Okay. So if you're worried about the interest rates being at 7%, I mean, remember, ladies and gentlemen, in the 80s, it was 14, 15%. Okay. We're actually, since 1971, they've been tracking interest rates. The average interest rate has been 7.7% since 1971. So we're still technically below the average interest rate, okay, from the past 50 years. So again, we can always refinance down the road if when the market shifts, because the market will shift. It won't just stay here forever. But I mean, I will warn you, if you are trying to buy, you know, the interest rate is probably still going to go up. A lot of people, some lenders are saying that it's going to drop once the market kicks up a little bit and the homes come out. But I got other lenders telling me it's going to keep going. Okay, with the way things are going on at the federal level, I mean, the interest rates are just going to keep climbing, climbing, climbing. So, is it the right time to sell? Well, yeah, you definitely want to sell if all the buyers decide to say, you know what, I need to wait. I can't afford this because we got to get you into that next home, or we got to get you on that home sold. And if you're a buyer, we definitely got to get you in. We got to get you locked in at this interest rate before it keeps going up. So, is it the right time for both buying and selling? Absolutely. And so, if you want to talk about that, please don't be afraid to shoot me a message, shoot me an email. Information's down below in the description box. You can always shoot me a text as well. And we will talk about your goals and what you want to do and what we need to do to best support you in every single aspect. I don't see any questions. I'll check the chat real quick. No, I don't see any chats. So that's okay. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Monday. I hope everyone's having a good day so far. I know UK losing stinks. It is what it is, unfortunately. But if you're like me, it's lacrosse season and I'm enjoying it. I'm officiating this year and I've enjoyed it so far. I love officiating, actually. I was talking to some of the officials. Might have to get back into doing a football officiating this next fall. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's all I got. If you need anything, you know where I'm at. Please don't hesitate to reach out. I hope you all have a great day, and I will see you next week.